Cancer is linked to numerous causes: lifestyle choices such as smoking and drinking, genetics, and exposure to certain chemicals. But what if certain life experiences, such as trauma, could heighten your chances of the deadly disease? A study by Harvard University shows that women who have experienced 6 or more symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder in their life are twice as more likely to develop ovarian cancer compared with women who have never suffered from it. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a debilitating mental health condition that's triggered by exposure to a traumatic event, such as sexual assault, child abuse, or warfare. In a country like Israel, where military service is mandatory, it's especially concerning.
There is an estimate that about 100,000, mostly men in Israel, suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder because they were in combat service since the beginning of the state. When you're being shot at, or when there is a terrorist attack, you get into a totally different mode. Your whole body reacts, your mind reacts. You don't feel at the moment. You do exactly what is necessary in order to survive. Now, many Israelis regularly in survival mode. When people do not get out of survival mode, they stay hyper alert. They feel their adrenaline going all the time, and they don't know how to relate to that. It influences, of course, the immune system. We know that many, both psychological but also medical illnesses can be a late consequence. That includes cancer.
According to the World Health Organization, Israel ranks highest in the world in lymphoma cases. Lebanon, another country ravaged by war and in close geographic proximity, is ranked second. In 2020 alone, over 28,000 cases of cancer were diagnosed in Israel, in both men and women. Elior was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in early 2022. He served in the IDF's paratroopers unit and was deployed in the Gaza war in 2009. He believes there's a direct connection between the traumatic experiences of his military service and his diagnosis. He says there are more just like him.
While we still need further studies to identify the specific causes of the high rates of Hodgkin lymphoma amongst native Israelis, our findings direct us to search for possible environmental causes in Israel and the neighboring countries. These causes could be not only environmental exposures, but also diet, climate, social environment, and stress that may be related to chronic regional conflict. There is also increasing evidence on the role of prenatal stress in offspring development, including cancer development.
But PTSD is still considered a taboo subject for Israeli veterans, making it harder to research its correlation with cancer.
In 1988, it was the beginning of the first Intifada, after the wars that had been going on, and people said to me, we don't see trauma here in a psychiatric outpatient clinic. We don't see trauma here. That was amazing, but that seems to be a natural response. When it's all around, you try not to see it. In the past 30 years, a lot has changed. There's a lot more sensitivity nowadays to the consequences of trauma. Itzik Saidian, a veteran from the IDF, the Israel Defense Force, set himself to fire almost 2 years ago as a protest for not getting the right treatment for his needs. He survived, thank God, but it really brought up the need to change the system in Israel for veteran care.
Itzik Saidian's self-immolation sparked outrage towards the defense ministry and protests across Israel. Not long after the incident, the Israeli government approved the one sole reform to give veterans suffering from PTSD the treatment and financial aid they so badly need. Some 5,000 people have been recognized as suffering from PTSD since 2020, but that number is likely far, far lower than the actual number of veterans with the condition. It's a long road to understanding the true effects of PTSD on the body and the mind. Meanwhile, veterans who have sacrificed their lives are left to suffer the long-term consequences.